it's really bad, because really the Kotel is supposed to be a place of unity. And David HaMelech understand that people, some people might dislike, agree or disagree, there are political powers, but religious centers normally are really unite very different people. And for David, the building of the Mishkan, bringing the Aron to a place, is not only a religious issue, it's also a national issue, because this is going to unite all the Shvatim together. And that's why this story about the Aron is here, right after the other thing that David is doing, taking Yerushalayim, establish his family. It's all part of building the new kingdom. However, things are not going well. We see that the tragedy strikes. When they take the Aron, the Shamtu Abakar, sometimes the behemoth cannot go evenly, and one of them moved, and Uzzah tried to stop the Aron from falling. And he struck on the spot and being killed. As I said last time, and we are going to reiterate it today and to see it, the problem was not Uzzah. Uzzah was just an indication or the end result of something that went wrong from the very beginning. The Aron is a very dangerous thing. The Aron has to be carried in a special way. Unlike all the other kelim in the Mishkan that you put them on the wagon, the Aron has a very, very special way and procedure how to take it from one place to another. Bnei Kehat, the people who are on charge of the Aron, they don't have wagons. Merari and Gershon, the other Leviim who are moving the Mishkan from one place to another, they got wagons, and they can put the krashim and the yeriot and the ohel and the masach and everything else can move on wagons. Not the Aron. Aron has to be carried by the people themselves. Respect to the Aron, the most important piece in Beit HaMikdash. And we see for some reason that indeed they had two mistakes. Number one, they had no Leviim taking the Aron to Yerushalayim, as the Torah requires. Number one. Number two, they carry it on a gala, on a wagon. They did not take it the way the Torah is telling us to take it. And we explained, or we tried to explain last time, that the reason was that David thought that actually this is going to be the last journey. When the Torah requires a Levim, when the Torah requires not to take it by wagon but on the katef, when you are in the travel, but when you come to the last stop, to the central station at the end, which is Yerushalayim, which is Beit HaMikdash, you don't need to take it anymore. By the way the Torah commanded us to take it in the Midbar. The Midbar is over. Now the Aron is going to be forever in one place, and maybe this was the root of the mistake. Indeed, and today we are going to learn what happened in the second time. We have to read our perek with a parallel in Divrei Hayamim. In Divrei Hayamim, it says that indeed the second time that David takes the Aron to Yerushalayim, he called the families of Shevet Levi, which tells us that the first time it was not the people of Levi. Vayikra David, I read it from Divrei Hayamim, it's Perek Yud Gimel, Divrei Hayamim Aleph, the first part of Divrei Hayamim in Perek Yud Gimel. ויקרא דוד לצדוק ולאביתר הכהנים וללוויים, לאוריאל, עשיה, יואל, שמעיה, אליאל ועמינדב, ויאמר להם, אתם ראשי האבות ללוויים. You are the people who are on charge of the לוויים. התקדשו אתם ואחיכם, prepare yourself, ועליתם את ארון השם אלוקי ישראל אשר הכינותי לו. That I read from דברי הימים. Something that in Shmuel does not say, but now we understand that David understood that something went wrong. He did not act it properly according to the halacha when he brought the Aron to Yerushalayim at the first time. So let's see Pasuk Chet, where we stopped more or less last time. ויחר לדוד על אשר פרץ השם פרץ בעוזה. Was very angry or sad, because you cannot be angry with Hashem, but you can be very sad about what happened. ויקרא למקום ההוא פרץ עוזה עד היום הזה. So David named the place. He wanted everyone to remember what happened there, and every child who will go with his father down the Jewish history and will say, why this name, this place is called Peretz Uzzah? So the father will tell him, this and this happened. We should learn from here how careful we have to be with the Mishkan, how much we have to fear God and not to take things lightly when it comes to the Mikdash. Ad hayom hazeh.
When you look ahead in the Psukim, and they continue to bring the Aron, there's no mention of everything that you say in Divrei.
We are going to see that. We will stop in every pasuk to see this idea, and sometime we will have to complete it with the story in Divrei. Vayira David et Hashem bayom hahu. David feared God in this very day. Vayomer ech yavo elai Aron Hashem. Now let's try to extract some of the information embedded in this pasuk. Let's see. Vayira David bayom hahu. What can you learn from these 4 words? What happened before Hayom hahu?
He's more shocked now because he saw a reaction, so he realizes, I didn't take it as strong.
So what happened before, indeed? When David took the Aron the first time, before the story with Uzzah happened, what happened then? What was the attitude then?
Didn't care.
There was no yirah. There was simcha. There was simcha. Obviously, there was simcha. It was a great day in Jewish history that you eventually bring the Aron or try to bring the Aron to Yerushalayim. But there was no yirah. It happened only bayom hahu that David himself stopped and said, something here was not right. There was gilah, there was simcha, there was happiness, but something was missing here. And this is the yirah.
The definition of yira doesn't mean usually I'm afraid at this moment. Yira is more of a concept.
What kind of concept? You're right. What kind of concept? So I'll tell you what is a kind of concept.
Respect, more than respect, but...
So I'll tell you what is the concept, because I can tell you from my own experience, things that I saw in the army, which is very, very important, because I think that these psukim are talking to me on a personal level. And I think that I mentioned it before. Sometimes you are in the shetach, like in the field for a week, 2, it's hard, and eventually there is a banquet to end the big exercise that the army is going through. Every unit, they have special food, and everyone is very, very happy. And then this afternoon, this evening, when everything is over, usually, then is when all the accidents are happening. When you have live ammunition, tanks are roaring all over, normally it's safe. The last night, where everyone is, Baruch Hashem, it's behind us, things lax, and they forgot that the tank and the rifle and the ammunition are very, very dangerous. And people don't treat them with the same respect that they treat it when the exercise was in its full strength. People, in a time of simcha, they lose a little bit control. Lehavdil, not the same. The Aron of Hashem is a dangerous stuff. Chachamim said if you see the numbers of Shevet Levi in the Torah compared to all the other Shvatim, all the other tribes, is less than a half than the smallest tribes. If you count Shevet Levi, they had only 22,000 people. The smallest Shevet, which I think was not Menashe, Gad or someone, Gad or Asher, they had 46,000 people. So how come that one Shevet, Shevet Levi, had half the numbers that all the other tribes? There were 12 tribes, each one of them, 46, 48, 54, 52, 57, they all around between 46 to 62,000, the most, Shevet Dan. Shevet Levi, 22,000. What happened? So Chachamim paid attention to the numbers because, Baruch Hashem, we heard Kriyat Torah many, many times. And there are things which are more interesting. We don't like the accounting part of the Torah, but the Torah is giving us sometimes numbers, and like in forensic accounting, sometimes the numbers are telling a story. And this is a story. What happened to Shevet Levi? So one idea of Chachamim is that Shevet Levi lost many people because they dealt with dangerous stuff. Ha'aron haya mechale b'hem. The Aron, they were too close to the Aron. This is a great honor, but at the same time, it's very dangerous. And the Aron would kill the people like on left and right. Every appearance of lack of respect to the Aron, people die like flies. Very sad. But when you work in the nuclear planet or you have to know. Maybe it's a great honor, but it's very dangerous. If you don't treat it with the right respect, you are going to pay dearly for it, sometimes with your life. So, even at the time of Simcha, this hand moving to stop the Aron, imagine that really you are working in a very dangerous place, like high voltage of 10,000 watts, which like the moment you hit it, you are going to be killed. So people will be in their conscious, in their awareness, even if something will happen, somehow they will be reluctant to move their hand and to come close to this source of high voltage. And that's the attitude that Bnei Israel had to have towards the Aron. This is a dangerous thing. So, even if I will see, like here on Butters, that the lines are going down, I will not even do something like this to stop it. It's like crazy, that it's so dangerous, you run away. So this movement showed that there was a lack of understanding how dangerous, because it's so holy, how dangerous is Aaron. And Hashem indeed, immediately he killed him. But as I said, this was just an indication that the whole thing was not in the right attitude. Uzzah paid the heavy price for something that David understood, or David maybe did not control properly, as we are going to see. Everything now is going to be a tikkun to what happened before. וירא דוד את השם ביום ההוא. ויאמר איך יבוא אלי ארון השם? Well, what's the problem? Uzzah made a mistake. Why should you be afraid? The answer is the leader understood that something is wrong not only with Uzzah. The fact that something like this happened means that the entire event and the atmosphere, something was wrong. In the army, they call it Tofat Shin Gimel. Sometimes, a soldier has made a mistake. So they blame the soldier. But in the army, many, many times they say, the soldier made a mistake. Wait a second. Did the officer tell him exactly what he should do? And the officer, on top of this officer, did he instructed all his officers what should be done in a case like this? And sometimes it's going very, very up. And people, high officers, they stop their advance no matter how talented they are, because someone there made a mistake, and it became clear that something from the top to the bottom, something is going wrong. So that's what happened here. David understand that what happened with Uzzah is not with the Shin Gimel, with the person, the Shomer Gdudi, the person there, someone made a mistake. The whole thing went wrong. So what is his decision? ולא אהבה דוד להסיר אליו את ארון השם על עיר דוד. ויתהו דוד בית עובד אדום הגיתי. In דברי הימים it says that he was a Levi. He put the Aron in his house, and until the time, or until David will make investigation into what happened, try to understand why a tragedy struck in such a fantastic occasion, and when the lesson is going to be learned, then they will decide what to do, or maybe what not to do. Maybe they should not take the Aron and to bring it to Yerushalayim yet. And in Pasuk Yud וישב ארון השם בית עובד אדום הגיתי 3 חודשים ויברך השם את עובד אדום ואת כל ביתו. It was there 3 months, and clearly everyone could see that the Aron is a source of bracha. How do you know? Chachamim say that in 3 months, what does it mean? That ויברך השם את עובד אדום ואת כל ביתו, how Hashem blesses עובד אדום and his household. So Chachamim say that after 3 months, you can see if a woman is pregnant or not. It started to be known after 3 months. And it was like in a miracle. All the people, obviously the married one, all the people in his house, like they got pregnant. There was a bracha. Many children were supposed to come. So it was clear that Hashem dwells in this house. In other words, the Aron can be a source of bracha and not a source of chaos like it happened in Uzzah. What is the difference? Why in one place the Aron kills the people, and in one time he blesses the people, he blesses the family, he brings life into a family? Apparently it depends how you treat the Aron. What is your attitude to the Aron? So Uzzah lacked disrespect to the Aron. The Beit Oved Edom Hagiti treated it differently, and the same Aron became a source of bracha to the family. This is a great lesson to David, to know that apparently it's only a question what is the attitude towards the Aron. So it's not the Aron that is like just dangerous, it's the attitude of the people treating the Aron. They can make it dangerous or they can make it a source of life. ויוגד למלך דוד לאמור בירך השם את בית עובד אדום ואת כל אשר לו בעבור ארון האלוהים. So David heard about it, that indeed the Aron is a source of bracha. וילך דוד ויעל את ארון האלוהים מבית עובד אדום עיר דוד בשמחה. Apparently in these 3 months he decided how to do it in a different way. Clearly the Aron brought Chaim, and David hoped that treating the Aron properly will bring Chaim also to the nation. And he decided to bring this time the Aron to Yerushalayim. This time there are few differences between the first one and the second one. Let's see Pasuk Yud Gimel, for example. ויהי כי צעדו נושאי ארון השם 6 צעדים, they walked 6 steps, ויזבח שור ומרי, they slaughtered and sacrificed shor umeri, 2 animals, shor, an ox, meri is like a ram. So what are the differences that we see already? Carrying it by hands, right? They take the Aron with them. We don't find here a wagon. That's very true. And I would say something very, very important here, which we should learn. I think it's true. Why to take a wagon? You take a wagon normally like today. If you want to go from one place to another one quickly, you take a cab, today you take Uber. You take, you drive. Walking is not the right style anymore. Like, it will take you time. And maybe in a way, taking the Aron on Agala was, let's do it quickly. We have now the opportunity, let's do it quickly. We'll take the Aron, the same day we will arrive to Yerushalayim, we will put the Aron there, and we accomplished our achievement. Here, in the second time, they do something very different. Imagine that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they stop. What is it, like 3 meters? Putting a korban. It takes some time to slaughter it, to sacrifice it. Another 6 steps. This could take maybe days. Moving from one place to another. But David learned the lesson. Achievement sometimes must be through small steps. You cannot, especially when it comes to spiritual achievements, you cannot be overnight like a new person, a new nation, spirituality all over. It's step by step, slowly. This is a great lesson. There is no places like, you know, they say that to success you don't take the elevator, you must take the stairs. And it's true about spirituality too. You cannot take elevators. Put it on a wagon. Put it in Yerushalayim. Boom, we have Beit HaMikdash, we have the Aron inside. It's a journey. Step, 6 steps, another 6 steps, until it arrives to the place. A lesson to learn. Yes,
Go
please.
ahead. No, ladies first.
Thank you. A gentleman.
Say it again, please.
A gentleman. It was also bringing up the excitement of the people.
It's very true, and we see korbanot. Korbanot is normally, it's for the people and for Hashem too. Until now it looks like it was a simcha dedicated only for the people. Hashem was a little bit forgotten, although obviously everything is for him and to bring. But you're right, it's like this time it's the korbanot give the whole event a different flavor. It's not anymore just a simcha of the people, it's simcha but with korban. It's something that involves Hashem in the event. Yes.
Other than the story where we see that David found out he did something wrong by putting the Aron on a wagon, why would he have thought putting it on the wagon was wrong? And in other words, if you think of today's age, if you want something regal is on a chariot. You have people watching beside it, and yes, you do it slow, and I'm not saying race, but why would David have thought that he should have carried it? I'm sorry, not have,
Why to put it in a wagon?
No. Again, if he put it on the way, maybe he did it for good reasons. Why would he have? Why would
I'm
you
sure
think-
that he did it for a good reason. Again, it might be that he wanted to do it quickly as they could. You know, I'm sure that to carry the Aron, you have to understand, you know, the Aron, people don't think about it. It's so heavy. I'll give you one example. People don't think about it, but you know, the Aron itself was wooden one. What was on the Aron, on the top of the Aron? Gold. The Aron looked like this. If this is a box, here there was like a plate of gold, and on the gold there were the kurvim, the cherubs, right? Now, I'll give you the dimension of the Aron. The Aron was 2 amot on 1 amah. Let's say it's about 60 centimeters and 1 meter and 20 centimeters, okay? What was the thickness of this plate? Chachamim said it was tefach, about 10 centimeters. This was like a plate of gold. Quick, I don't have a calculator here, but what is the volume of gold of 10 centimeters on 120 on 60 centimeters? Can someone help me here? 1.2 times 0.1 is what?
Ask Siri, Siri will tell us.
Okay, oh, Siri, yeah, for sure. And then, so it's
It's on the bottom.
0.6 times 1.2 times 1.1. This is going to be in meters, the volume in meters. 60 centimeters,
70,
0.6 times
70 cubic, 0.7 cubic,
7.2, no, yes, 7.2 cubic?
1.2 times 0.6.
No, it's like only 10 centimeters, it's 0.1, so,
One more time.
so 1.2 meters
1.2, yeah.
times
times 0.6, because it's 60 centimeters,
7.8.
times 10 centimeters, 0.1. So what do we get here? In
7.2.
what?
7.2?
7.2
0.78.
Cubic what?
cubic,
0.78 cubic meters.
cubic meters. Meters? No, it's
Yeah,
impossible.
meters.
No, it's 0.72 cubic meters.
0.72 cubic meters. Now, do you know what is the weight of gold? I
Heavy.
think 1 cubic centimeter of gold is supposed to be something around 7.6 or something like this. Ask Siri what is like the
Well, you know how much gold weighs?
It just,
I think
it's
it's
just
every
slightly lighter
centimeter
than
cube
lead.
is 7.6. Is that possible?
Huh?
What we need here is a jeweler.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the point? That it was
No,
so
no,
heavy?
I'll show
What's
you
the
it's
point?
impossible to
Very
carry
heavy.
it. You will see in a second. Because as I say, sometimes we don't read the Torah properly. Like we just wait for the drashot of the rabbi. The real stuff of the Torah is really what the Torah itself is telling us, which sometimes is incredible.
This is a Kal Vachomer, that for sure they were afraid to carry it, till they put on a wagon.
And also, they're going down that hill. So when they first took it from
Right, from Kiryat Yarim to Yerushalayim is about the same level actually. 700 meters above sea level, Kiryat Yarim and Yerushalayim. So yes, they go down, go up.
It's very difficult to
Oh, but that's
understand.
it, if they're going up.
Anyway, I think that we will come very close that just the kaporit, without anything else, with the kruvim, and it was all made of pure gold. I believe it's something around few tons, actually.
So how could you possibly carry it?
How they carry it, that's exactly that. Well, what is it?
It just says, well, they talk about.
What is the
standard
density of
bar-
gold? Density of
standard
gold is-
bar- It says gold is very heavy. Its density is 19.3 grams per cubic centimeter.
Oh,
Yes.
19.3. I thought it's 7 something. Wow.
Similar to
It's one of the heaviest elements
Yes,
in
the
the
cubic
world.
centimeter.
Cubic centimeters.
Centimeters.
So 1 centimeter cube is 19 grams. Now we are talking about like thousands of it, thousands. So we are talking about few tons, just a kaporit. So you take 4 levim, you know what? It's really impossible to carry it. Like human beings, 4 human beings cannot carry their own, period. Today, even if you take like the Olympians, they cannot carry their own. So Chachamim said indeed the Aaron was carry the people, it was just an illusion. The Aaron and Hashem can maneuver itself. It doesn't need the Levim. But, you know, in order not to make it like an explicit miracle, it looks like the Levim carry it. And therefore, like the question about Uzzah was, like, do you really think that you are going to stop the Aaron? The Aaron, the whole move of the Aaron from one place to another is by Hashem. So you think that you are helping the Aaron? Big mistake. Hashem will take care for himself. And by the way, they already saw it. Remember the story that appears in the beginning of Shmuel. The Aaron was captured by the Plishtim. Remember that. How the Plishtim returned it after he destroyed their cities? They put it on a wagon and it arrived by itself. The oxes who carried it, they brought it to Beit Shemesh, which shows you that Hashem can take care over himself very, very well. He doesn't need human beings. and they took it from Gat to Beit Shemesh. It's like more than 40 kilometers. These parot have no seichel. They don't know where to go. But Hashem told them where to put the Aron, where to bring it to. So that's the main idea. And David now got it.
Wasn't the Aron made of wood and just coated with gold?
No, the Aron itself, yes. The box itself, yes. But there was on the Aron was a plate of gold, which was, as I say, this dimension. This is a kaporet. The kaporet and the kruvim were on the kaporet. So it was a massive piece of gold. A massive, massive piece of gold that was on the Aron. And as I said, it was extremely heavy. If you really, and let's hope that the Egyptians, when they did the gold, they did it properly, because all the gold that they had in the Mishkan was the gold that they took from Mitzrayim. And I believe that in Egypt, they knew how to do gold pure. It was not like, putting copper and other stuff into it. So it was real gold. It was very, very heavy. And the message is that Hashem carried the Aron. It's not us who are carrying the Aron. We just have to show that we do the little effort to take it upon ourselves, but really Hashem carries it and it's not us. Anyway, ודוד מחרקר בכל עוז לפני השם. There was a great simcha. ודוד חגור אפוד בד. Now, there is something very, very interesting in this psukim that you will not see in the first one. And this is that this time, ודוד מחרקר בכל עוז לפני השם, דוד חגור אפוד בד, let's see the next psukim, ודוד וכל בית ישראל מעלים את ארון השם בתרועה ובקול שופר. Who is mentioned again and again? This time, that was not mentioned as much before, it's David. This time David is taking responsibility for what is going to happen. If before he just gave it to Uzzah and Lachio, David understands that it comes from the top. He should set the tone how they carry the Aron to Yerushalayim. And he is going to make sure this time that it's going to be taken appropriately. Now, before we continue on, I just want to draw your attention. David mecharker bechol oz lifnei Hashem. He's dancing and he's happy. This is very important because we are going to see how it developed later. David chagur ephod bad. What is ephod bad? It's a vest. But who is wearing normally the ephod?
Right.
The Kohanim. Ephod is part of the Kohanim uniform. Although we see, for example, by Shmuel, who was not a Kohen, he was a Levi, he also, his mother did ephod. Ephod was apparently a special uniform for people who served God. So David, instead of going from the palace with his beautiful garments, and I'm sure that as a king he had beautiful king garments, when he went to take the Aron, he had ephod bad. He did not take his king uniform, but ephod bad, which is more like servant of God. This is very, very important because we are going to go back to this pasuk later. ודוד וכל בית ישראל, פסוק ט"ו, מעלים את ארון השם בתרועה ובקול שופר. What is the difference between the first time and this time? How did they bring, what was the music in the first time? It was a whole band. בעצי ברושים, במצלצלים, במנענעים, בתופים, בכינורות, בנבלים. It was a whole band going. This time, shofar and truah. Minimum. And actually, shofar and truah are usually only for religious purposes. When they used to bring the korbanot in Beit HaMikdash, they used to do the shofar and the chatzotzot. That's it. There was nothing else. The shirah of the Leviim, obviously, they had more. But for the korbanot and for the religious purposes, or as we know in Rosh Hashanah, this is a time of shofar and truah. So we don't have the happiness and the joys that we have in the first time, this time it's very religious. This time it kept to a minimum. I just want to say one thing. Obviously, David, when he's wearing the Chagor of Bad, what is the idea that he tried to express? What is the idea? What does he try? And obviously, you know, there is like, tomorrow there will be like pictures in all the newspapers, or at least people will say what David was dressed with in this momentous occasion. What is the message that he tried to give us through his garments?
That it's what within his heart and not what he was wearing.
Exactly, that it's not when it comes to Aron Hashem, when it comes to Beit HaMikdash, David is like anyone else. The king, the great king of Israel, does not have any privileges when it comes to Aron Hashem. And this is an amazing statement, because all emperors, all kings, especially successful ones, saw themselves above the law. David said, when it comes to Aron Hashem, I'm like any person else. I am a servant of God. I'm not playing here as a king. And we are going to see that this is going to create a huge tension with no else but his wife later, in few psukim. והיה ארון השם בעיר דוד. They arrived with the Aron to Ir David. This is, I would say, 12 kilometers, 15 kilometers from Telstone to Ir David. You go through Ramot, you go through Romema, where is the Tachana Merkazit, and you go now towards the Ir Atika, to Har Zion. So it comes to Ir David, ומיכל בת שאול נשקפה בעד החלון. She's watching through the window. ותראה את המלך דוד מפזז ומחרקר לפני השם. And she see the picture, like she's on the חלון, and she see the streets, and she see King David. מפזז ומחרקר, which means like exceedingly happy and like dancing. ותיבז לו בליבה. She despised him in her heart. Let's stop here, because this is a very interesting pasuk. Was she in the window just like by accident, or you think that she was waiting to see what is going to happen?
She was waiting.
What?
She was waiting.
She was waiting.
That's for sure.
Yes.
How do we know? נשקפה בעד החלון. She was not like, just like seeing through the window. נשקפה means she was there to look. להשקיף in Hebrew means to look carefully. To look carefully. Why ותיבז לו בליבה? Now, you know what, before that, what is strange about presenting her the words of the Tanakh itself? What is a little bit strange here?
Michal, it was his wife, no? Michal?
Yeah, so?
So you're saying his wife, not the daughter of Saul, why would
Yeah, Shaul died long time ago. ומיכל, אשת David, she was his wife, right? So why to present her here as מיכל בת שאול?
Here she was the daughter
What
of
is it, עלייה לתורה? You give her like עלייה, מיכל בת שאול, what?
Here she
It's
was the
not-
daughter of Saul.
Like-
Something with her had nothing being hating him because of Saul, because of her father.
In this picture, we have the daughter of Saul, not the wife of David,
She's seen
and
herself.
David. Which means that Tanakh, in a beautiful way, is drawing the picture. We are talking here about two approaches. The approach of the daughter of Shaul, the house of Shaul, versus David. This was not something of the mishpacha, tension inside the family that every family has in a way. This was a completely echoes from the past. Michal bat Shaul, David, ותיבז לו בליבה. bizayon is not like something that you disagree with a person. There is something very emotional. You despise, you disdain, you cannot live with. And why? Why she could not, why? Upon seeing him there, she was so like taken back. But Tivas lo belibat is, you know, it's one thing when you don't agree with your spouse. Okay, it happened many, many times. But bizayon, like to feel this contempt towards a person, this is something very different. And remember something very important.
Yeah, she
and I
saved
think
his life.
we talked about it. We talked about it. Michal is the only woman in the entire Bible that said that she loved her husband. She loved her. She loved him. It said in Shmuel Aleph, we learned it when we ended Shmuel Aleph, we find Yaakov loving Rachel, but you don't find in the entire Tanakh a woman love a man. Maybe it's impossible, but but certainly this is the only occasion. Do you see what happened here? Like from a great love to, but tivas lo beliba, it's a contempt. It's the lowest level of relationship. What happened
Just
here?
plain
She left
embarrassed.
him to go to her father's house.
She
left him to go back to her father's house, didn't she?
actually saved him, if you remember.
No, right, she did.
Yeah.
But she left him and went back to her father's house.
What do you mean?
She left.
She left
She left
him.
David.
Oh, she left him
Yeah.
because he gave her to Palti ben Laish. We are going to get back to this story. It's very important. You're right.
She
Yes.
raised him because of the embarrassment of a man of his stature should
Yes.
behave like.
Yeah.
And her father was the
She's-
opposite,
she's-
he was the king. Her
She
father
feels
was-
he's diminishing himself, and she,
Yeah.
who's the daughter of Shaul, has to have a husband who's making a fool of himself.
This.
Or maybe she sees how Shaul went down, and here David is rising so much.
But what is vativas? Vativas mean, it's as I said,
it's-
it's a disagreement. Sometimes, and you know what?
But it's to the core bothering her that Shaul had such a downfall, and
Why now?
he is rising.
I think
No,
the
he became
opposite,
king,
that
that's
he
what
was,
it
he
is.
was so distinguished and he always held himself
I have
so
to tell you
high.
something that happened to me last week, and I'll tell you what is vativas lo beliba. Vativas lo beliba. With Mechila from the Aron Kodesh, there is one actor that I quite like, Robert De Niro. He's a good actor. Last week,
Oh, yeah.
he talked against Trump in such a terrible way that I felt contempt. Really, like this. I saw that you are like really not a great person, but you know, a dignified person. You can talk in front of hundreds of people, like to talk about anybody in the world in this way. But tifas lo beliba. There is a moment when a person that you hold dear and important, like loses statue in your eyes. That's what happened here. We are going to see that Shaul was exactly the opposite. Shaul, and this was his tragedy too. He kept his kavod. What happened? Why he chased David? Why he brought upon himself this tragedy? Because he felt that when the women of Israel said, "Hika Shaul be'alafav veDavid berivevotav," they dismissed the awe that the king deserved. There was not only a personal issue here, but a king must be a king. The Torah says that there is something that is called Yirat HaMelech. You have to be afraid and have a fear. Som tasim alecha melech, which means you have to put upon yourself this idea that the king is exalted. You cannot come ever to his level. In many halachot, we keep this idea. And here she see a person who behave like anyone else. Anyone else. And you know, in this moment when you see a person like Chagur, no uniforms, like dancing like with everyone else, and apparently I can picture, you know, they dance Torah, and the king, and the soldier, and another guy, they dance together like there is no difference. How can it be? A king of Israel, how can that be? And she came from a very different understanding what a king means. And she could not take it.
Yeah, because she didn't know which king she was talking to. She really
No,
didn't.
because you.
The bottom
she
line
says it
is,
should
I
be
mean,
Solomon.
Wait, just a second. What do you mean?
well, because what David was doing, what King David was doing was showing Hashem, listen, this is what you gave, but this is, you know, he was giving the covet. The covet was going to Hashem. The covet.
Right.
So
But
he
even-
was answering to Hashem. He was.
But that
But
means
it
that the
doesn't have to be
king,
like
you
that.
see, the king himself is
I
also
understand.
like an
I-
agent of God. It's not like
So he's but he still David understood that Hashem was still above him. You can't if he was trying to get on parity.
You are
something-
absolutely right, and that's exactly the answer of David. I want at this point that we will sympathize with Michal. She did not come from a wrong place.
No,
She saw she was different. She saw a different style of kingdom, and their understanding was very, very different. And you know, just think about what we saw in the recent month in England. You know, to think like, 100 years ago, that the prince will marry a divorcee, and you know, he will live with her before the way. It was unheard. People could not think this way about the monarchy, about the royal family. But you know, over time, it changed.
Yeah, but
And
they all had affairs.
Shaul and Michal lived in the old world. Like, I'm sorry?
Everywhere.
Yeah, you understand, like, people have a certain perception how the king, how the royal family should behave, and she had a very different perception. And remember, she was the daughter of a king. He was not a son of a king.
Correct.
And when Shlomo, by the way, in Sefer Melachim, he dedicated the Mishkan, he does not dance with the people, because he already got like an education of a prince. It was different. And he does not dance with the people. He behaved as a king. David came from the people and behaved like part of them. Michal could not take it. And she saw it as actually that David offended the whole idea of being a king. And you know, at this point, I'm sure that she heard where David, who were the people of David, you know, these low people, and actually, yes, maybe he became a king, but in his neshama, in his mentality, still
Not a
with
king,
Rekim
right?
and Pochazim, the people who are with him, and he danced like a nar, like a very simple, like a peasant with him. And at this point, you know, I'm not sure that she didn't ask herself, like, what am I doing with a person like this? I'm royalty, and this guy, they're just a peasant. How can we live together? A big question. Sometimes this caste, this difference in mentality and background, you know, sometimes love is very, very strong for the first few years, but then differences surface, and you ask yourself, like, what am I doing with this person? Like, we don't belong to the same league. It's a big problem. And apparently that's what happened to Michal at this point. And the Tanakh said, Michal bat Shaul, not the wife of David. It might be that there is another reason for this. We are going to discuss it later. ויביאו את ארון השם ויציגו אותו בתוך מקומו, בתוך האוהל אשר נתן לו דוד. So now David already designated a tent to put it there until Beit HaMikdash is going to be, but already Yerushalayim now is the religious center of the nation, because the Aron is there. ויעל דוד עולות לפני השם ושלמים. David bring two kind of korbanot, Olah and Shlamim. What is the difference between Olah and Shlamim?
The Olah is offered to Hashem.
Olah is to Hashem.
Entirely, and Shlamim, people.
Shlamim is to the people. Because by David, this time, he wants to show that this is a party not only for the people. He wants to remind the people that Hashem is here. We have to have a certain attitude, not the one that we had in the first time, but this time we have also Olot. We have to remember who comes here. Hashem, we host Hashem here. So the whole attitude should be different. And then, ויכל דוד מעלות העולה והשלמים, ויברך את העם בשם השם צבקות. He gave a bracha to the nation. Which is again what? Who normally give the bracha to the nation? The Kohanim. David חגור אפוד בד, like a Kohen. He sacrificed korbanot, like a Kohen. And now he gives the bracha as a Kohen. Very unique. ויחלק לכל העם, לכל המון ישראל, מאיש ועד אישה. And now he gives over the food to everyone. לאיש חלת לחם אחת, ואשפר אחד, והשישה אחת, וילך כל העם איש לביתו. He personally gives the people, like you know, like the Rebbe is giving the Shiraim, he gives the people. I'm a little bit surprised that it was not censored. Lemeish ועד אישה. He gave the men and the women. They were together. Okay. Maybe it was different then. So everyone is going ish lebeito. Everyone is going to his house.
But is he allowed to offer a korban? That was before the Beit HaMikdash. Really, that's only going to really do that.
Yeah, it
but
was.
Maybe before the Beit HaMikdash, it was no. Even at the time of
It was
in Mishkan.
until Yerushalayim. Everyone was allowed to bring his own korbanot, even in his backyard, and that's
Right.
what actually happened. So at the moment, Yerushalayim was not yet built, so they were still allowed to bring it as a korbanot yachid, that everyone was allowed to do it.
Right.
But it's very interesting, as I say, the classic role of a Kohen, which is certain uniform, korbanot, and brachot, David take it to himself, and this is very, very important. I hope that we will have time, next time we will have
One
some
more
time to
week.
discuss it. You know what? Maybe I should discuss it now, and next week we are going to talk about this incident between David and Shaul, David and Michal bat Shaul. I want to draw your attention to something very, very interesting. One of the greatest clashes in the Bible is between the kings and the Kohanim, between the king and the Nevi. Because each one of them represent a different kind of authority. The king, his job is to make sure that the people are safe, the economy is good. These are the most important parts and jobs of a king. Safety of the people of the country, number one. Milchamot, that's why they wanted Shaul at the first place. Second, prosperity, that the people of the country are not going to be hungry. The Kohanim had a different agenda. The Kohanim and the Nevi'im are talking about morals, about the service of Hashem. Even the Kohanim and Nevi'im are sometimes in clash, because the Nevi'im are always talking about morality. The Kohanim stress their rituals. But king and the church are usually enemies to each other. It's normally very, very hard to live together when to your authority there is always sometimes, like some people who say, no, you cannot do it. I'm sorry, but you cross the red line here. So kings, and as I say, the church, or kings and Nevi'im and Kohanim, were always in a clash. And I'll give you a simple example. Where do we see it with Shaul? Shaul is killing the Kohanim of Nov. Okay, he was very upset because David. But I'm telling you that it's deeper than that. The Kohanim of Nov is the authority that, in a way, sometimes exercised and sometimes not, is a balance to the power of the king. I find it very difficult to believe that Shaul killed all the Kohanim just because he was raged over the collaboration with David. In the entire story of Shaul, you barely find any encounter between Shaul and the Kohanim. Now, Beit HaMikdash, okay, not the Mikdash, but there was the Mishkan, there was Aaron somewhere. We don't hear anything of Shaul and the Kohanim or the Beit HaMikdash. The only thing that we hear about him are two. Number one, when he goes to the Plishtim and the Plishtim come closer and he had a Kohen with him, he said, Kalei Yadcha, I don't want to hear anything, and he ran into the war. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Don't ask Hashem, I am going to the war. With Shmuel is telling him something, he ignores it. Shaul took his job very seriously. I am the king. I am the CEO of the company that is called Am Yisrael. I am responsible for everything. No one will tell me what to do. The rabbi, it's very, very nice. I am above the rabbi, or the Kohanim, or the Nevi'im. The moment Hashem said that there is a king, the king take over everything else. And yes, the Kohanim and the Nevi'im should help the king to maintain high morals and so on, but it's my job. I'm number one. David had a very different approach. Very different approach. All the jobs of Navi and Kohen and the king is to bring the nation closer to Hashem. We don't play the games of authority here. The authority has one meaning and one philosophy. We, each one in his area, the rituals, the morals, the king, we try to bring the nation of Israel closer to Hashem. And we all the same in this one. And when he brings the Aaron to Yerushalayim, he removed himself from this ideology of Shaul that see the clash between a king and the Kohanim, and he said, I will show you what is my attitude to the Kohanim, because today I'm going to serve as the Kohen. I'm not going to be the king. When it comes to the Mikdash, when it comes to the Torah, I am like anyone else. And the same as the Kohanim, their job is to elevate the nation. My job is exactly the same. And I'm not going to take my authority as the king and to rule over you and to have this tension with the Kohanim. And this to me is a story of bringing the Aaron to Yerushalayim and David behaving this way. And this is what is going to rage Michal so much, because she had a completely different perception. The king is in the top. Everyone else is below him. The king cannot compromise his special authority and status. For David, there is no status. There is a job, there is a role, there is achievement, there is a goal. And the king is exactly like anyone else in these goals and objectives. So we are going to see next time how the clash between David and Michal escalated and what did it mean. Erev Tov, and tomorrow, next time is the last time? No.
Next is the last week.
Last time, okay.
If everyone wants to,
Do more, yeah.
he's going away.
No, I'm going away on the beginning of July, I'm sorry. So I'm not going to be here for the summer, and then we will continue it.